Hello and welcome to this week's vlog. This week I've been planting apple trees. Just going to finish off today. Beautiful weather, fantastic. I'm going to start the video off with recorded video from last autumn showing you the difference between my trees on my small orchard in Plymouth that are now 12 years old and an orchard that was planted exactly the same time on exactly the same aspect just across the valley on the same soil basis. Now then, this is not me saying how wonderful I am and how bad they are. This is me just showing you what the implications are if certain steps are not followed. As you can see on this video that you're now watching, this is the rival orchard, if you like. It's nicely spaced, the trees are growing away, but there are problems in as much as that they have never ever controlled the grass around the base. And I would also criticize the pruning a little bit, less so with that because that can be relatively forgiving. But bearing in mind these trees were planted at the same time as mine or shortly after or shortly before, I can't remember when it was roughly the same year anyway. You'll see the vast difference in trees. Now if you look at my orchard is small. They're planted a little bit too close together. That was something I got wrong. They were planted in bare soil and allowed no competition from weeds. Grass was kept away. I know there's grass there now, but that was not the case back in 2012 onwards. I kept it just soil, and I did give it a bare amount of watering when it got really bad in a couple of dry years. Nothing, no regular watering, just a couple of good deluges to make sure that they didn't suffer too bad. Now then, if you look at my orchard once again, it's really nicely formed trees. Most of them are trained to pyramid shape. The one on the left is a Michelin, wonderful trained tree. It sort of did its own thing really. The next one over by the compost bins is a Dunkerton's. Totally wild, will not conform to the pyramid. It's done its own thing, and it's like a normal orchard tree. Again, that's fine. The other three are roughly pyramids. Pyramid is not necessarily what I'm going to be banging on about today, but it's just a form of training that really suits an allotment growing. More on that another day if it's requested. So looking back at the orchard on the hill close by me, you can see the trees are far further behind, perhaps 2 or 3 years behind mine. Mine's been given regular crops for 6 years now, and some real whopper crops as well. So I think I basically got it right. And the only real differences between the two is how I've treated the grass. I have not allowed grass growing, whereas the orchard that you're looking at has allowed the grass to grow around the roots. Grass around the roots will impact on the trees in a dry year, and we've had a couple dry years in those 12 years, and I think it's set them back very much, a lot. Okay, so let's get on with the planting. Square hoe helps the roots meet the sides and go out into the open ground. If, like mine, you've got compression issues and, or should I say compaction issues, and it's a sub pan underneath, there's no harm in basically doing a double dig, if you like, and loosening up the bottom of that pan. Not remove it if you don't want the subsoil out. If you've grown and bought a pot grown tree, you need to release those roots. You've got to really get the old soil off. Better to buy a bare root tree, but circumstances dictate that you can't always do that. You see how I'm loosening up all the roots, so that I can get them straight out in the hole rather than curled around. The tree will sit happily within a circular hole with circular roots if it's given the choice, but obviously it will suffer. Fence posting first. You can trim the roots off if you want to. It's shown in the other video, didn't show it in this video. And make sure all the roots are facing outwards. And then it's just a matter of backfilling. Nothing harder than that. Mycorrhizal fungi would be a great extra at this point, but I've lost it in the house move. The important that you put the tree at the same level in the soil as it was in the pot or the nursery, and you definitely need to not cover up the root joint. This is what happens when you put a circular tree in a circular hole and you don't release the roots. This is one I removed earlier this year, and as you can see, the tree roots never escaped, and it was so dwarfed it was unbelievable. Very poor. Very good example now. There we are. There's a well planted tree, post facing the prevailing wind, so that the tree gets support when it needs it, but it still can twist in the high winds. Tie wrap, keeping the tree relatively stable, but allowing it a bit of movement. This helps the roots get out. The green there is a rabbit guard, nothing else, just a rabbit guard. And the silver strong wire mesh is a deer guard. The deer could harvest up here, of course, but at least then they're not going to kill the tree, because they've got we've got buds that will follow on. Bit of a disaster if they do, but let's hope that's not the case. But this stops them actually killing the tree. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've learned something today, even if it's the rudimentary basics of mulching around the trees. I know there's none here at the moment because I haven't got any wood chip, because it's all in Plymouth, because my car is being fixed. Once the car is fixed, I'll bring a nice sort of mulch with me, and I'll mulch around a metre around these plants. Make it look nice, keep the weeds down, keep the grass down in particular, and give it the start that it deserves in its life. And this one will produce a lovely crop of apples in a 3, maybe even 4 years time. See you there, guys.